Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we are here with a book haul. I have acquired quite a few books since my last book haul, and I figured it was about time I did another one. I even went back on my last book haul to see what were the last things I hauled to make sure I don't rehaul anything or forget anything. But yeah, I have a lot of stuff to share with you today, and I'm very excited to add these to my never-ending TBR because that's my favorite thing to do. Book buying and book reading are two very different hobbies and I really enjoy them. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the books. I have them sort of categorized. So we're gonna start with books that I have already read, which I'm really excited to share those with you first. These first 4 books that I have recently purchased were actually all in a reading vlog that I'll put up here and also link down below. It was my most anticipated reads of 2024. So if you wanna see like full in-depth thoughts on all of them, I have that whole video. So I did purchase the third and hopefully final book in the Housemaid trilogy by Frida McFadden. This is The Housemaid is Watching. I ended up really loving this one. It follows Millie but like years and years later after the first 2 books. And I was really excited to pick this one up. So I have The Housemaid is Watching from Aardvark Book Club. This was actually my first book I got from them, and I was so excited to sign up because I read Dead Silence last year by S.A. Barnes, and I knew there was going to be another sci-fi horror coming out from them. And it was on Aardvark, so I was like, ooh, let me do that because the hardcovers are a little bit cheaper, and it was Ghost Station. Sad to admit, this was a disappointment, unfortunately, but sci-fi horror, if you're interested. It follows a crew, but it also follows the single girl who's a psychologist who comes and joins this crew because there's like this virus going around and she needs to like monitor them. They end up going to this station to monitor like alien activity, and it progresses from there. So that was Ghost Station. I also picked up Lucy Foley's newest release, which is The Midnight Feast. This was such a shock and surprise for me. I feel like it might be my favorite Lucy Foley. Again, watch that vlog because I'm just obsessed with the way this turned out. But just like any classic Lucy Foley, you're following multiple POVs, one singular timeline, kinda. And it's just good. So I got The Midnight Feast. And then the last book from that video was Middle of the Night by Riley Sager, the newest Riley Sager. Very excited to pick this one up. I've seen a lot of differing views on this one. A lot of people really didn't like this. I thought it was a good time, didn't hate it. Middle of the night. And then the last book that I picked up recently was actually my book of the month pick for July. And if you're not signed up for book of the month, you absolutely should be. I'll put my referral link down below to get your first hardcover for $5. I have a lot of book of the month books to show you, but this was my July pick. It is The God of the Woods. I just finished this recently by Liz Moore, and I wasn't quite sure, and I'll talk about this a little bit more in my in my August wrap up. I wasn't sure if I would love this. Ended up really enjoying it. I actually think I'm gonna look at that other book that Liz Moore wrote. I think there's only one other one because I had such a good time with this. A pleasant shock from book of the month. So those are all of the books that I've already read, so I feel like I'm like, the excitement for them is over, but now let's get into some books that are brand new to me, and I'll just keep the train going with book of the month. I have some other stuff here. So this was my August pick. I actually saw somebody review this and they said don't read the synopsis before going into it, just go into it. So I'm not going to do that for you either, but this is Like Mother Like Daughter by Kimberly McCreight. It's the thriller pick for August. It seems pretty short. Like a little less than 300 pages. I'll probably end up picking this up this month. I haven't decided. I typically try to read my book of the month monthly pick that month, but I got kind of behind because I was doing some various reading vlogs. So I don't know, this seems like a quick and easy thriller. Maybe if I'm like in between something, I'll just grab this. So this was my July pick. And then when I ordered God of the Woods, I actually grabbed 3 other books because I had some credits, so thank you guys for using my code. I do already have Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez from Book of the Month, like the Book of the Month edition. And I figured, you know what, since I already have that one, let's just grab the other 2 in that like series. It's not necessarily a series, but like I'm pretty sure they can all be standalones, but it's considered a series. And I'm the type of person that if I have a certain book in a series a certain way, it has to stay consistent, so I figured I have to get the other 2 book of the month copies. So I got Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, and it has the little book of the year 2023 sticker on it, which is really cute. Love this. I'm actually really excited to dive into these. I feel like I'm really going to enjoy them. I go through this phase where I'm like, I don't like romance, and then I pick up a romance and read it and I'm like, this is amazing. So that's me, but this one just says a novel of terrible first impressions, hilarious second chances, and the joy in finding your perfect match from the best-selling author of Part of Your World. So I have Yours Truly and then the newest release, which is Just for the Summer. which was an April 2024 pick. But I figured I had both of these, adds to my collection. When I get to them, we'll get there when we get there, but at least I have these to add. The other book of the month I picked up during the God of the Woods July was this one, which I'm so excited for. This is by Josh Malerman. It's Incidents Around the House. I read Daphne by Josh Malerman earlier this year. Really enjoyed it, so bless you. And I was really intrigued by this book because it's, first of all, spooky, but I'm pretty sure it follows first person from like, yeah, an 8-year-old. Yeah, you're following this like 8-year-old's perspective. I'm gonna read you the first chapter because this is it. It just says, "Good night, Daddo. Good night, Mommy. Mommy and Daddo leave my room. I pull the covers up to my chin. Other Mommy comes out of the closet. Hi, I say. I'm so excited to see you again." Other Mommy? What are you talking about? That's a little spooky. Basically, I'm pretty sure it's like a haunted house and this like entity that they call Other Mommy is trying to take over the child. I want to read it soon. I think it's gonna be really spooky. That's the kind of horror I like though, very like haunted house horror. So, and I feel like because we're following like in the perspective of an 8-year-old, it's gonna be a quick and easy read. So I got that as well. And then the last two from book of the month were books that I grabbed this past month with August. So I did grab this one because I saw this and it is so stinking cute. And then after I picked it as like one of my add-ons, I saw it at Target and I'm like, this is like literally the cutest cover I've ever seen. The Love of My Afterlife. Are you joking? This is so cute. This is by Kirsty. I'm Kirsten. Kirsty Greenwood. Sorry, you never hardly see those. It just basically says that she's a recently deceased woman. She meets the one in an afterlife waiting room, which gives me very like Beetlejuice, but like romance vibes. And she has 10 days back on Earth to find him. And I don't know like what happens if she doesn't. Like, does she actually die, or if she finds him, if she's like is given a second chance at life? But honestly, the cover, the synopsis, sounds adorable. So I grabbed this. And this actually came with my August box, which I thought was crazy. I think everybody that got this with the August box, Book of the Month has been doing these like volumes, which are paperback short stories, and to be fair, I was not interested, but they sent like a single short story to like everyone, and this is A Spell for Disappearing Volume 0. It says it's a free story for you. Want more? Add the latest issue of Volume 0 to your next box. We'll see. I mean, it's a short story. I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a read. A Spell for Disappearing. We'll see. So that was all of my book of the month stuff. I'm also subscribed to the Aardvark book club. Ghost Station was the first book that I ever got, and then I have 3 other books here that I haven't read, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna read book of the month and an Aardvark book every month. That has not happened, but I have 3 more here. So the next one that I got was The Last Murder at the End of the World by Stuart Turton. I have heard a lot about this and I feel like I would really enjoy it. And also, quick side note, one thing that I like about Aardvark versus Book of the Month is Book of the Month does that and that on the corner here. Aardvark just puts the little Aardvark somewhere where he fits, and then everything else just looks kind of normal. I dig that. But anyways, I'm pretty sure this is kind of like a sci-fi thriller. Basically, there's an island, and outside the island the world is destroyed by a fog. It kills anyone it touches. Okay, The Mist. The island is idyllic. 122 villagers and 3 scientists living in harmony. Very interesting. It says, until to the horror of the islanders, one of their beloved scientists is found brutally stabbed to death, and then the murder is triggered a lowering of the security system around the island, which was the only thing keeping the fog at bay. Fun. Can't wait. I want to read that soon. The next Aardvark book club book I picked for the next month was I Was a Teenage Slasher by Stephen Graham Jones. I have not yet read a Stephen Graham Jones book, and I've heard that his writing isn't for everyone, but like, I'm intrigued. The cover of this, the synopsis of this sounds amazing. It's based in Texas in 1989. Yeah, it just sounds like this is Stephen Graham Jones taking on the slasher genre. I feel like this could be good in the summer, but also summer is coming to an end, so this could also be good in the fall / spooky season, so maybe I'll save it for that, but got this one as well. Most current Aardvark book club I picked up was Bury Your Gaze by Chuck Tingle. I saw this like a couple of days before the first of the month at Barnes & Noble, and I just kept staring at the cover because like, look at this cover. Stunning. The colors, wonderful. And then see the little aardvarks right here. This is also very short. Like 270-ish pages. I think we're following a producer, but I could be wrong, of this like hit show on television, and they're basically trying to throw like the algorithm off and win an Oscar, and so they're telling him to kill off his only gay character on the show, and he like refuses to do so. So I don't know how this turns into a slasher or a horror, but I'm all about finding out. Those were all of the like book club, book of the month, book subscriptions that I have. Everything else is just kind of purchased, and I have it separated by genre, so I'm just gonna quickly start with my only like literary fiction. And I picked up Kristen Hanna's The Nightingale. I have not read a single Kristen Hanna. I've heard a million and one amazing things about Kristen Hanna, and I wasn't sure which one I wanted to grab first, so when I went to Target I just kind of looked at all of the Kristen Hannas, and the only one there was The Nightingale, so I grabbed it. I was like, perfect. She's a big one, she's a chunker, but God, this cover is stunning. It follows two sisters during World War II. And I think that's what Kristen Hanna is known for best, is like emotional historical fiction, and I haven't read that, and I feel like I'd really enjoy this because everyone else seems to. I'll have to give this a try, but the length of this is definitely a little bit intimidating. It was Goodreads' best historical novel of the year though, so that could be a thing. This next one I have really no place for it, so I kind of put it with the two books that were just kind of like gifted to me by friends. The first was Hot Dog Girl. This is a YA. I've never heard about this at all, but like the cover, the name, and the fact that this girl works at Magic Castle Playground as a giant dancing hot dog really did it for me. I was like, that's kind of hysterical. It's so cute. It's like super YA. It's basically talking about how like she has her crush and her best friend that also work at this Magic Castle Playland, but the Castle Playland is closing unless she can find a way to stop it. That just seems really cute and like wholesome. So if I'm ever in the need for like a wholesome quick YA read, I think this would be perfect. And then I think this will kind of lead me into my romance section. This was also gifted to me by a friend. This is Carly Fortune's This Summer Will Be Different. I also believe this is one of the Aardvark picks, and I almost picked it, but I knew I was getting this from a friend anyway, so I was very excited. I have not read a single Carly Fortune, but I've heard amazing things about this one. Again, summer is like basically over, and I kind of abandoned the ship of reading summer books in the summer, but maybe I save this for next year because this just looks so cute. And it's following Lucy is a tourist vacationing at a beach house. Felix is a local who shows her a very good time, but Lucy doesn't know that he's her best friend's younger brother. Ooh, forbidden romance, love that. And then I was so excited to pick this one up. I was searching like 3 different Targets to find this. A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. The only Ashley Poston book I have read is The Dead Romantics. Love that book so much. I do have The 7-Year Slip. I need to read it soon, but I have to collect all these books because I love The Dead Romantics so much, and I have a feeling I'm gonna love The 7-Year Slip. But A Novel Love Story, this premise was so good. Basically, we're following this like author who's going on this like trip with friends, but none of her friends end up going, so she's going by herself anyways, and she stumbles into an imaginary town that she wrote about, and she meets all these characters that she writes about. And it's a romance, and it just sounds really cute and fun, and I've seen like actual bad reviews about this, which makes me sad, but I feel like I would like it, and it's just so cute, and I don't know, we'll see. Hopefully. Next we'll do thrillers because I only have a couple of thrillers. This first one I bought a while ago, so when I had to rewatch my haul, I was like, did I include this one? I bought this right after BooksandLala talked about it because the premise sounded amazing. It's The Last One by Will Dean. I've heard a lot of things about Will Dean's books, so I'm hoping I'll really enjoy this one. I think this is the author of The Chamber that I've been seeing a lot of people review lately. I'm not quite sure. But in this one, we're following this person that goes on a cruise ship and wakes up one day and they're the only person on it. Everyone has just disappeared, and it's not like everyone got off. Like, everybody's things are still there. Like, no one's there. Nobody controlling the ship. They're in the middle of the ocean by themselves, and they need to figure out what happened. And I heard you have to get through the first like 100 pages before like something crazy happens, but I feel like I can handle that. And it just the premise sounded wild, like absolutely wild. Maybe this could be considered horror, but I'm putting it in the thriller section because I don't know, I have not read it. And this one I actually just picked up recently from Half Price Books, and they had a bunch of them, and I have been like interested in this series. I have another book by Carrie Maniscalco. I believe I hauled that in my last haul, which I'll put down below if you're interested. But this is Stalking Jack the Ripper. This little series sounded amazing. I think there's another one about like Dracula, and I was like, oh, love that. This is YA though, so I feel like it'll be really fun to read. I was the girl who loved the Ripper. There's pictures in here too. I remember like I bought this book at Half Price Books, and then we went to get lunch, and I was just like browsing through it, and like this is the first picture that popped up, and I was like, oh, let me close that. We're at a restaurant. But yeah, I've been interested in reading the series. If you've read this, let me know. I have it. Then I have a couple of fantasy. The first is a novella that's in a duet that I'm reading. I finished The Serpent and the Wings of Night, so I went ahead and grabbed Six Scorched Roses, which is the novella. It's like 1.5 in between 1 and 2. This is by Carissa Broadbent. It's a Crowns of Nyaxia novella. I'm really excited to read this. I loved The Serpent and the Wings of Night. Again, super quick, super easy. I just need to pick it up one of these days and just probably read the whole thing. 170, 180 pages. I just had to pick it up because I need to know what happens. This one I picked up on a whim because it is so pretty. I knew nothing about it. I don't think I've seen anybody talk about it, but it is so cute. It's called The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. Look at these purple pages. Are you joking? So pretty. This gives me very cozy fantasy vibes. I'm currently reading an arc, A Dark and Secret Magic, which I cannot wait to talk to you about because it is so stinking cute. And this kind of gives me those vibes. It's about a librarian named Keela, I believe. She's an assistant who's a magically sentient spider plant, and they have spent the last decade sequestered among the Empire's most precious spellbooks, preserving the magic. There's a revolution, the library goes up in flames, they flee with all the spellbooks they can carry, and head to a remote island. Maybe it's not. No, actually, in need of income, Keela identifies something that even the bakery in town doesn't have: jam. With the help of an old recipe book her parents left her and a bit of illegal magic, her cottage garden is soon covered in ripe berries. It literally says like a Hallmark rom-com full of mythical creatures and fueled by cinnamon rolls and magic. Cozy fantasy. Sometimes you just need one. This is so cute. I'm obsessed with this. Last, I have my little stack of horror, which I actually just bought all of these recently at a Barnes & Noble run, and I'm so excited. I didn't even go into any other section. I just stayed in the horror section because I knew if I like browsed around it would be trouble. So I was like, let's just stay here. Up first, Fantastic Land. I've had this one on my wish list for quite a while and I've been really wanting this. It's by Mike Bakoven. From what I've heard, it's like if you're at Disney and a hurricane comes and you can't leave and you're stuck there, and then everybody turns into cannibals and joins tribes, and it's like Lord of the Flies, but at Disney. And it's told in interview style, which I like. I'm very excited. Hopefully I can read that one soon. This one I picked up because it gave me Into the Drowning Deep vibes, which has been my favorite horror book so far this year. This is From Below by Darcy Coates. Again, another author that I've heard a ton about, but I just saw the ocean vibes and I was like, ooh, I love this. And it talks about how there was like a routine voyage into the drowning deep and it vanished without a trace. Okay, ghost ship. And this Cove, her name is Cove, and her dive team have been granted permission to explore the hull. They found it. So, spooky stuff. This is a long horror, but also so was Into the Drowning Deep. So hopefully I like this one as well. This one just seems kind of like a fun horror. I don't mind it, and I think it's going to be a series. It's How to Become the Dark Lord and Die Trying. This is by Django Wexler. Again, I've heard a few people talk about this, and it just sounded kind of like fun horror vibes. Laugh out loud fantasy tales, maybe not horror. About a young woman who's tired of defending humanity from the Dark Lord, decides maybe the Dark Lord is onto something after all. Sounds like a great time. Honestly down for that. Currently in my vampire era, so I grabbed Bless Your Heart by Lindy Ryan. Southern vampires. I'm pretty sure it's like a family of Southern women who own a funeral parlor and are also potentially vampires. I don't know, it's really short and they have to defend their town from something evil. This sounds like such a great read, honestly. Last but not least, I have Mary, An Awakening of Terror by Nat Cassidy. I read Nestlings. I think that was my first book of 2024 by Nat Cassidy. Loved it. Also just love how all of their books look the same. Obsessed. This is actually their debut novel, so I probably should have read this one first. It says it blends Midsummer with elements of American Psycho and a pinch of All Be Gone in the Dark. Love all of those. So this is also quite long. Oh, but I just love it sometimes. So looking forward to that as well. These are all the books that I've bought recently. I'm really excited to get to reading them. What should I read first? Tell me, because I'm really excited to like get into them and add them to my TBR. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.